Hello, hello, Josie here. Are you ready for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And are you sure? Okay, here we go. So, I did a video a while back that talked about the song by John Mayer, Daughters, and I didn't, I just use that as an example, a start to the message that I received. And there's a reason why you have some parents that spoil their children early in life and giving them whatever they want, not whatever they want, but pretty much making sure that their children are taken care of, that they are progressing well in life. And that could be extracurricular activities, the school that they go to, the connections that they make as far as church, community, organizations, and whatnot. They want to provide their child with healthy relationship and an understanding of the world that they're living in. And they want them to do things that they are interested in that will also propel and excel them further in life, as far as making other connections when they get out into the real world and whatnot. Okay? But there is an underlying reason as to why they do those things. They're setting their child up for the best life possible. And that's even making sure, okay, they go to school, they go to university, they pay for their education, their vehicle, they make sure they have a vehicle, a car, insurance is paid, they make sure they have everything that they need to be successful. And then when the time is right, they allow their child to let their child go out into the world and experiment and learn and so on and so forth. But they always have that connection to their parents, as far as they can always, ask their parents for help or assistance if they need it. There's a reason why a lot of parents do that, even in regard to certain things that they want growing up, whether that be certain types of clothes or shoes, the way they decorate their room, certain things that they like or admire, they want, toys, musical instruments, so on and so forth. There are parents that will pretty much buy their child whatever they want because there is a reason why they're doing it. And the reason why is because they know the control that they have over their children. But they also know that one day that control might be in their children's hands as far as their lives are concerned. So when their parents get to an older age and they're no longer able to take care of themselves, they will lean on and depend on their children to do that, to step in and, bring them to their home and take care of them and basically be their caretaker, not necessarily taking them to a home or a living assistance home, but rather, making sure that they take care of family the same way that they took care of them growing up. There's a reason why. Also, when that parent transitions to their next life, their next 3D form, the things that they engaged in that hurt their child or that angered their child or disrupted their child's life or whatnot, there are consequences for doing so, because God has given parents the responsibility of raising up their children in the way that they should go, so that they will never falter from that, right? Well, God has relinquished a lot of power and control to parents, and the connections and cords that are attached to our parents, that some of these cords that these parents have to their children, they don't want to let go. And the reason why they don't want to let go is not because they don't. Let me just put it straight up. The reason why a lot of these parents don't want to let the cord go is because that cord is attached to a child that they birth, and that cord is how they are able to abuse that child and hurt and scar that child and hold that child back. Also, their actions, their behaviors, their words, their intentions, and so on and so forth throughout that child's life. If they have not been stellar, if they have not been kind, if they have actually hurt their child and basically ruined their child in a lot of ways so that they would not be successful because they wanted them to be abused. They wanted to abuse their children. Like, seriously, their next lifetime, they're going to have to experience the consequences of what that felt like, what their child had to go through. And parents that understand that and don't want that to happen to them will make sure that they do right by their children. And this is not all parents. Some parents. So they'll go overboard in some ways, and then some parents will do just the right things. Other parents will do all the fucking wrong things. And then some parents will do, just enough, but, still kind of be a bully to their child. But they say, oh, I was preparing them. I was doing this. They have this attitude of, I was raising them with the strong hands, or that, so on and so forth, yada, yada. Well, just be ready for, your next life, however God decides to bring you back, that you will go through that same experience that you put your children through. There's a responsibility when you're a parent. There's a responsibility, and you're given a lot of power and control over the lives of your children. So if you steer your child in the wrong way, if you raise your child in the wrong way, intentionally abusing, intentionally neglecting, intentionally disparaging your child, and fucking up their future intentionally, basically having them go down wrong paths, not giving them the education that they need, not giving them the knowledge and the wisdom that they need to be able to go out into the world and be successful, God's going to hold you accountable for it. God's going to hold you accountable for it, and you're going to pay in your next lifetime. You're also going to pay in the current lifetime, because how many parents do you know of out there where their children do not want anything to do with them? Where their children will not take care of them. Their children will not go and see them. Their children have left and have never come back. A lot of parents have experienced what that feels like. To be basically left to fend for themselves, because their children, in a lot of ways, were left to fend for themselves out there in the world. I am an example. I was not taught a lot of the things I had to learn going out into the world. And there are some things that my parents did know and understand, not only about me and that cord that they had attached to me, but they chose to not share certain things with me because they did not want me to be successful. They wanted me to fail so that I would have to go back to them. And they had that cord of attachment that they did not want to release. So they would bring in other people to then force me to have to go back to them or engage with them so they could feed off of me. And now that cord has been severed. There is no love there because there was never any love from them for me. So now the thing is, God knows my history. He knows what's happened to me, what's been done to me over the years. He's aware, and he knows how I've handled it, how I've combated a lot of things, and how I've released certain people so that they don't have access to be able to do those same things to me anymore. But he also knows that people like that, they have a hard time letting go. They have a hard time releasing the control that they've had over their own children for so long, because that's their fuel. That's how they feed, is off of their children's desperation, their children's anger, their children's issues, problems, and so on and so forth, so that they have to go back to them and ask them for help. And they've actually set situations up for them to have to do that. But then what happens when that child does not go back to them? What happens then? They've lost that control. They've lost that power. So what do they have? Nothing. They have to deal with the issues and traumas that are within them that they refuse to heal. But it's not only in this lifetime, it's going to be in the next lifetime where they experience the same traumas and issues that they put their own children through. That's why a lot of parents spoil their children at young ages, because they want their child to always love them, always care about them, support them, be there for them, do it the same way that they are for them through adolescence and their teenage years and their young adult years. That's why you have some children that, are very, very depressed and very saddened when their parents pass away, because their parents were so good to them. Their parents loved them. They had a really good relationship. And so you'll have people that will mourn that loss for years. Whereas you'll have other kids, other children that have no qualms, no grief when their parents pass away, because of everything that their parent put them through and how they had to overcome a lot of the bullshit that they were put through by their same parents. So I'm just speaking on that because you really need to be good to not only your sons, but your daughters. And if you are setting your child up for failure in any way, like that's a consequence that you're going to have from God, as far as what you experience at the end of your life, as well as in your next life. I really do believe that. God's not going to let you get away with your fucked up behavior against children that He blessed you with to take care of and to raise in the right way. He's not going to let you get away with doing them wrong, especially intentionally. Intentionally doing your children wrong. Intentionally setting them down the wrong path. Knowing that they're going to fail, and have to run back to you or have to deal with problem after problem or issue after issue. God's going to get you. God's going to deal with you accordingly. And He's going to take care of His child and get them through whatever it is that they're dealing with. He'll have His child to see the truth about not only his parents, but his family members, people around him, what they've been engaged in to come against His child. Because we're all God's children. But God gives parents responsibility in raising His children. And it's a test. And if they fail the test, they have to repeat the lesson. Gotta go. Bye.